Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to have a little bit of a discussion because we talk about a lot of things on the channel, but there's very few times where I don't go into a video without a script. I usually have a script, I have all my notes, I have everything that I'm going to say, even though I do ad-lib a lot, and you can probably tell that because I like to feel a bit more like we're having a conversation. But today is a real conversation because I've seen a lot of discourse online about a certain game on PSVR2. You probably guessed what it is. It's in the thumbnail, it's in the footage you're seeing. It's Legendary Tales. And this has been a very big part of a lot of debate about PSVR2 and VR in general, because this wasn't just a PSVR2 launch, it was also a PCVR launch. Legendary Tales came out on both platforms, and I wanted to talk about the discourse online concerning its price tag, its quality, its runtime, and whether this should be the standard of price going forward for VR games and PSVR2 games, because we've got two sides to the coin here. I saw a lot of discourse about it, and I intentionally didn't want to kind of expose myself to all of it too deeply because I wanted to go into this with an open mind as possible. But I have seen a little bit of it around, especially from Marty Dude VR over on Twitter, another great VR creator who was questioning why the game has such a high price tag, and also Frank Was Taken, also known as PSVR Frank, who's also covered kind of the topic of debate, which is Legendary Tales, and I didn't want to watch or read through all of their arguments just so I could jump into this without having any preconceptions. I will take a look at this later, but the notion is this game really worth $50 or £46 in the UK? Is it worth $80 Canadian too? Because I think that's how much it is in Canada. It's a lot of money for an indie game, and there's two ways to look at this really. One is to look at it from the side of this is a VR game and VR needs to thrive as an industry. Devs need to have a reason to make money and actually invest in this amazing platform that we all love, and that's going to lead to higher price tags like this. That's one of the sides, definitely. And the other is this game has a lot of reused enemies, a lot of similar looking locations, and in terms of visual style, it's not incredible, and they're selling it for almost AAA price. And I think this is quite a nuanced argument, maybe a lot more than a lot of people on Twitter, in terms of the VR headset console wars, which is such a stupid thing. But it's a big hitch, really, in terms of where people are getting hung up on gathering opinions on it. And I personally am a bit in the middle, because I love Legendary Tales. I think it is an incredible game. I've had a lot of fun both solo and co-op, and I've put many hours into it so far. It's been kind of the experience I've been missing in terms of a VR RPG. It isn't as fleshed out as, say, Skyrim VR in terms of its voice acting and its animations and its locations, and I talked about that in yesterday's video too, while I was looking at PSVR2 ports that I'd love. Skyrim was in there, and I talked about it a bit deeply there. But essentially, this is scratching that itch a little bit in terms of those upgrade trees and the progression, and to do this all in co-op too with up to 3 other people is awesome. There's such an element to VR RPGs that it feels so much more involved when you got other people with you. And features like that make me lean towards agreeing with the fact that this game has a high price tag, but you're going to get a lot of fun out of it. And with all the content and the different skill trees and the different builds you can do and the amount of quests and the runtime, I do feel like that's justified. On a deep gameplay level, if you enjoy this crunchy sort of upgrading and gameplay and long grinds and fights, it's worth every single penny. I do really believe that, but I think a large portion of the people who are coming at this argument are coming from the perspective of we like our really good Half-Life Alyx, Horizon Call the Mountain, and Resi 8 and 4 games that look stunning, and that's why we pay the AAA prices. This is a whole different ballpark in terms of the quality that you're paying for. Those games, don't get me wrong, are stellar on all fronts, gameplay-wise and graphics-wise, but this is offering a different side to the immersion. More role-playing, and more digging into a character that you can really invest in and level up over time, with a combat system that, if you enjoy its loop, won't get boring for a very long time. And because it's an indie studio, with that we get all of the rough edges that you would expect. And when I say rough edges, I mean some janky animations here and there. The game itself fundamentally is sound, but that's what you're paying the premium for, is the investment in runtime that you're probably going to get if you think this game is for you. That's why I personally love it as well, because one thing that I really don't want to lose touch on when reviewing games, and I really try my hardest not to, is to lose touch with how much these things actually cost. Because one of the perks of being a reviewer is that I get review codes. I can play the game early and I can get my review out for you guys, and I really try not to lose touch with the fact that this is a product that people are going to spend money on, and in this case, it's a product that people are going to spend a lot of money on. So I can't just approach these games with the notion that, okay, this feature's pretty cool, that means you should buy it, you should spend your $50 or your $80 in some cases, because that's just not how real life works. And that's where I kind of get the side of the argument where we can put on the brakes a little bit and think, okay, the enemy variety here isn't amazing. You're fighting a lot of the same stuff. Some of the weapons feel a little bit the same. And graphically, the actual textures are not quite at the standard you'd expect for the price. I do get that argument, I really do, but I think a lot of the people who are saying that haven't actually tried the game in the headset, because in the headset the clarity is great, and flat screen gameplay really doesn't do this game justice. I think a lot of arguments are being made on people who watch the trailers and watch other people's gameplay, and I tried to emphasize that in my review. I know a lot of other creators did as well, but it is not the same experience. A lot of VR games, I can show you the flat screen gameplay and you get across how awe-inspiring some of these visuals are or how fun the combat is. That's not the case with Legendary Tales. The fun happens when you're in the headset, and it's quite hard to convey that in video. That's not to devalue everyone's opinions though. Some people genuinely have tried it and thought this game is bland and not for me, and that's fair enough. And that stings even more when you've paid that such high premium price for it. But I think it's important to have these conversations without it getting heated, because it quite often can, especially in comment sections where people are hurling insults at each other. But I do genuinely want to hear what you guys think about Legendary Tales. I know there's been a fair bit of heated discourse in my comment section on the review. Let's try and keep it civil. I mean, you guys basically always are, to be honest, but let me know in the comments below your opinion on the price point of Legendary Tales. In hindsight, after it's settled down a little bit, do you think that it's fairly priced? Do you think it's overhated? Or do you think that it is fairly rated at where it is? I'd love to hear you guys' opinions, and that's the point of this video. I wanted to have a bit more of a conversation. I've shown you my side. I see both sides of the coin to an extent, although I lean a little bit more to the positive side. And it'll be interesting to hear your guys' opinions, so please do let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video and engaging as always. It's some of the best parts of my day to read through your comments. Even if I don't press the little heart button or like or reply, I always read them. You can count on that. I read every single one. And thank you all for participating in the discourse on yesterday's video as well, because that was a load of fun to read through your recommendations of what you would love to see in terms of ports on PSVR2. So get involved today, let's have a talk about it. What do you think of Legendary Tales? It's been a little while, it's settled in, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe. We recently hit 7,000 subs, and we are climbing at a rate that I never thought possible. So thank you all for that, and I hope to see you all in the next video.